person can never say is that my lives and me getting on live is not eventful, okay? Because it is so full of events. Do y'all understand how hard it is? It's not hard to go live. It's just that the devil be working overtime, okay? The devil works overtime. I have started this live about 4 times, okay? And it crashed. I don't even know what happened. The time now is 6:04. I think I started now for about 6:03. Nope, 6:04 is when I started because I'm only 45 seconds in. But when I tell you that the devil be trying, honey, because what is it but me and YouTube going live? Listen, I'm here. I'm here. You know what? As a matter of fact, I think I just answered my own question. Okay, let me get this paper. I think I just answered my own question. And the question being, I was trying to decide if I wanted to continue on with Hood Parenting Live or if I wanted to possibly, just continue to vlog and do other things because here on Hood Parenting, I have just decided to just go all in. And so when I say all in, I mean you're going to see a whole bunch of different stuff. And so before I go down that rabbit hole, let me just say hello and welcome to the neighborhood. I am Yashika and you are watching Hood Parenting on YouTube. I am affectionately known as Fairy Godmother, okay? And welcome to the neighborhood. If this is your first time here, I hope you feel inclined to stay a while, get some property around on the block or whatever, go ahead and put that subscribe button on, turn on your notifications so that when I post a video, you will be the first to know. Listen, I like to go live on Hood Parenting on Sundays at 6 p.m. because I feel that that is the time that, we can unwind and all that kind of stuff because I don't drink wine until after 6, okay? Unless I'm at brunch. Okay, unless I'm at brunch. Now, this is the moment when I do Hood Parenting Live where I come and I just talk about things that I know is the message in which I need to tell for that week, honey. Because when I tell you that these messages be coming in, because they ain't just for me, okay? They ain't just for me, they ain't just for you, they for all of us. All right. They for all of us. And so when I think of Hood Parenting Live, okay, the channel is designed to help you take some of those things that we've been through, right? Hood parenting, me being from Detroit, and use those things as ways in which to build our legacy, right? Use those things as milestones and say, you know what? Because here's the thing: I survived in Detroit. I'm gonna just give you an example. I survived in Detroit for 18 years. Okay, by the grace of God, I never did anything. I never came up pregnant. I never went to jail. I never any of those things. Didn't get in a record. None of that. Right? Didn't get any of that. However, I also know that me being in the military, excuse me, me being from Detroit is what helped me survive the military. And so what I'm saying to you is that we as people, of course, we want to take things that we've experienced, things that we've been through, and use them for our good because we know, listen, I knew that I could survive. I knew that I could survive the military after being in Detroit. Like how could you not? Okay. How could you not? Okay. And so that's how that was for me. All right. I'm live, y'all. So that's how that was for me. And so this is what Hood Parenting is. And so when I come here on Sundays and I do Hood Parenting Live, it's literally things that I've discussed through the week, things that has happened. And initially, before I came on this live, I was debating if I wanted to continue with Hood Parenting Live because the views are very low for this particular episode on my channel. And it's something that I'm like, okay, how do I make the views higher? And I don't really know yet, but what I was trying to say earlier, I was going to put out that I believe that this will be my last episode for a while. But no sooner than it I ended up fumbling, okay, trying to get started on this live. And now that I'm here, just that quick, it made me say, you know what? That's exactly what the devil wants is for me to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this because I know it's needed. Okay, 444 when I said that on the clock. Okay. And so I know that it's needed. And so I am going to keep going. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. Stable rocking. Listen, rock steady on a steady path. And so today's, I want to talk about you have to make space for what you're asking for. Isn't that how that worked? See how that all tied in together? Now, initially, how this conversation came to be was I was having a conversation with someone. Now, this person I know, I've had the pleasure to know for about 30 years of my life. Okay. And so he and I were having a very intimate conversation about, things that we've been through. And so one of the things that I brought up was the fact that I'm going to get a horse. I was talking about some things that had happened in one of my marriages. And so now, before I say this, let me say this. Because I've known this person for about 30 years, I can honestly say that that person doesn't give themselves enough credit about their achievements in life. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion because I believe that just like myself, when you have made something, I mean, a lot of something out of nothing, baby, you should be able to stand at the top of somebody's building and yell it because that is an accomplishment, especially when we know where we came from. And this person right here, when I say they started from the bottom, now they're here, their story is just like mine in a lot of ways. Now, you could take that they've been through some heartbreaks, some pains, all kind of things, depending on who you ask, right? Because everybody's resiliency level to struggle is different. Everybody's resiliency level to obstacles is different. But from the outside looking in, I know that he was not born into a picket white fence. His life was not a picket white fence that Hollywood sells us and, the TV sells us. And so, but just where he's at right now, I just feel that he doesn't give himself enough credit about his accomplishments. He's got a lot of accomplishments. Like I said, I've known this person for about 30 years. Now, with that being said, this is how today's topic came about because I said, okay, you have to make space for what you ask for. And this is the topic. And like I said, we were talking about something that occurred in one of my marriages. And what I said to him was, I felt like something particular that was done wrong to me. I didn't deserve it because it impacted the whole family, not just me, but the whole family, which means my spouse as well as child or children, whoever was involved. And so I felt like, why would you do something that's going to impact your child too? Because it's directly impacts the child. It's not like there's steps in between. Other words, this one act could directly affect the child. Well, this person brought up, the guy that I was talking to brought up things that he knew that I had done also while I was in that particular marriage. And so he said to me that he felt like it was justifiable. And I said to him that those things were apples and oranges, right? Those things were apples and oranges, regardless of what was done, how it was done, why I felt it was justified, whatever it was. I felt like it was apples and oranges. And he said no, because he said that when you do something, how you get karma back to you in that same situation, you don't get to decide. And I said, but karma is not something, first of all, that I believe in. And he said, well, life balances it out. I said, it does. However, how do you explain when people have come out on a negative from the gate? And when I say that, this is what I mean by that. I first was assaulted, my first assault when I was 3 years old. Okay. Now, despite anything that else that have happened to me in life, by the time I was three, I'm sure I had not done anything. Probably the most I've ever done was probably use the bathroom on myself as a baby. Okay. So I asked that person the question, if everything is karma or is justified because everything has to balance out, then how do you explain a child that's born into the world with a disease? How do you explain something happening to a child? Because see, they ain't had no time to do nothing wrong, right? And so, other words, what I was trying to tell them is that if we always look at life like that, we will forever have like stuff coming at us. But what I was also explaining to them and what I feel is that when we talk about things that affect the family, because he said that, well, what you did could affect the family. But like I explained to him, what I could have did could have expected the family, but it was not a direct effect to the family. Other words, before the family was affected, several things had to have happened first. right? So it was a cause and effect with a cause and effect. Whereas in a situation with what I felt like my husband did, I felt like that directly would have affected everybody. And so that's how this conversation came about. Okay. And so it made me think about, what do people think about when they talk about making space for what they ask for? Because I feel that people, when they are in situations, whether it is not getting paid what they should get paid, not being in the type of relationship that they deserve to be in, that's healthy and fulfilling, and a job that's healthy and fulfilling, and you're working towards things, when you are in those positions, right? I don't think that you should settle for just to say, well, because of these things, I deserve this. And I think that that's what a lot of people do, right? I think a lot of people hold on to things because they feel that, well, because I did this back in 1995, that whatever happened to me in 2025 or 2026 is justifiable. And I don't believe that. But what I do know is, in order for us to get the things that we ask for, we have to make space. And part of that making space is making peace with some of the things that you had to go through in order to get to where you are in life. Okay. Some people only know how to survive, right? I do know that. Some people only know how to survive. And so, because some people only know how to survive, they are sometimes uncomfortable with receiving, right? So, when they are uncomfortable with receiving, they struggle to find peace. They struggle to find, ease in themselves. They start overworking themselves. They don't get the rest that they need. They do all the things because they feel that, you know what, I don't deserve this, or I only know this way, right? A lot of people look at survival mode as being an identity, right? Well, I survived this, I did that, right? I'm not saying that you're not supposed to be proud of the things that you overcome, but some people look at it as, if I ask for help because I only know how to survive, if I ask for help, then it will start to make me look like I'm weak. And part of who I am is surviving, overcoming, and things like that. So some people will look at survival as being an identity when it's not. And we shouldn't tie who we are to the fact of because we survived. No, we survived. That's it. We survive and we keep going. Life is not linear. That's one thing I know. Life is not linear. Anything that we do, right? It's not linear. Everything that we go through is going to have its trials and its tribulations, no matter what. If it's worth fighting for, it's not going to come easy. And that's just the way it is. Because if that's the case, everybody would do it. If being a billionaire was easy, then everybody would be a billionaire. Okay. If accomplishing a doctoral or master's degree, or hell, even just getting to, then everybody would do it, right? Just getting through school, or getting through whatever, everybody would do it. But those things are not easy to do. It takes for you to be resilient. It takes for you to be focused. It takes for you to know how to put things into perspective and go forward and making space for the things that's important in order to accomplish that thing, right? The key point that I want to also say here is that some people are not blocking their blessings intentionally. They simply build a life around survival. And because of it, everything in life takes up space, right? Because of it, everything in life takes up their space. So because everything in life takes up space, they're moving pieces around, and they're not accepting the help. They're not doing the things that they need to do. Okay. And when I say everything takes up space in our lives, think about all the clutter that we have around us sometimes. Think about all the things that we have that we just keep on doing, like old habits, and carrying old guilt and old pains, and relationship clutters and mental clutters and old version of ourselves, right? Every time you refuse to let those things go, to be able to let other things and new things come in, those old things are taking up space. And if you're always harboring on the past in terms of my old self, like I want to, because of what I did back in 1995, I should be held accountable. No, we suffer. Every day we suffer in life. There's some form of suffering in life. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you still suffer the loss of a loved one. I don't care if you suffer the thing that you wish that you had or the thing that you got away from or you wish that, listen, and every life is suffer. We suffer in life. Everybody. No one is exempt from it. No one is exempt from it. So we know we're not exempt from it. Why do we feel that when things come our way or when bad things happen, that because this is the mindset that some people believe. And when I was talking to this individual, I know that this is not the only person that thinks this way. I've even had people say to me that when it comes to a certain amount of money, they don't want it. And it's like, what? Well, I feel that money is this and I feel that money is that. Money is not evil. People become evil. People are evil. Money don't do this, right? So when you look at money as being the bad thing instead of looking at the people that's holding the bag, then of course you're not going to look at money as being it'll make your life better in so many ways. I don't even need to sit here and list the ways that it make your life better. But people will say things like that. And to me, that is an old way of thinking that's cluttering you from moving forward and adopting other mindsets that will help you to move forward in life. Remember, we got to make space. We got to get rid of some of these things, right? Because, see, we can't ask for overflow while refusing to release what no longer fits in your next season. And it's just that simple. Just that simple. You can't ask for all these things and no, because you're still holding on to old versions of stuff. You're still holding on to things that you think that you deserve. Guilt is a mug. There's no way at 53 that I would still hold myself accountable for something I did at 33 or 23 or 13. Now, I'm not going to say that I need to be doing the same things that I did, especially if those things did not align with what my purpose is and what I know to be the right thing. Now, I'm not saying sitting up here making the same mistake and making excuses for it. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is I can't hold myself accountable, or excuse me, I cannot sit up here and punish myself or guilt myself for something I did when I was 23 and now here I am 53. That's not what I'm going to do. So if I made some bad decisions back then, baby, they was just bad decisions. I can't sit up here and say, I can't believe I did that and still let it guilt me that I can't look. I have to forgive myself for that. I have to forgive myself and say, I didn't know. Listen, I was working with what I had at the time. Whatever it was I was seeking at that time, because different phases of your life, you need different things. So whatever it was I was seeking at that time, I'm sure I found it. I'm sure I got it to a place where I don't need whatever it was I was doing at 23 anymore. Now we're 53. So if you're that person that's still holding on to things from the past and you guilting yourself, you have to be able to let those things go. Because if you don't, how will you make room and space for the things that you need in order to get to the next version of you, the person that you're supposed to be? All right. How are you going to that next version of yourself? Because, see, receiving requires capacity. You have to be able to hold the blessings in which you ask for. Okay. Everybody say they want more. Everybody say they want more. But with more comes more responsibilities. That's just like if you have more kids, right? If I lay up here, or anybody, there was a time in my life I wanted 6 boys. I did. I wanted 6 boys. Okay. Now, because I was in between husbands, I didn't get 6 boys. I got two, one from each husband. Now, I also knew that with those 6 boys was would require me a lot of stretching. Okay. Now, here I am. I sit with 2 boys. God knew what I needed. He knew I didn't need no 6 boys. Right? He knew what I didn't need no 6 boys because he knew that that was going to require a capacity that I wasn't built for, baby. I wasn't built for that because there's other things I supposed to do. There's other things that I needed to do. Getting my daughter was one of them. Because trust me, had I had 6 boys, oh baby, she wouldn't have never been adopted. You can believe that. God Himself would have had to have told me to do that, honey. It would have had to be what them. He called me up on the phone, baby. If I had had 6 boys, there's no way in the world I would have adopted anybody's child. I could have contributed, okay, Could have gave you a couple dollars here and there, but other than that, no. But what I am saying is that he knew that my capacity wouldn't have been able to hold it. Okay, because when you ask for things that you want, you got to be able to hold it. You got to be able to hold those things because, baby, having 6 kids ain't easy. Being a billionaire, I can't even imagine. I don't even listen. I can tell you this to be for sure, for sure. I thought about this morning, actually, while I was getting ready for this discussion. And I kid you not, I thought about that this morning. I said, if I, because I was listening to a podcast and it said that I will become a billionaire. Okay. That's what the podcast said. Excuse me. So I started to think to myself, could I handle being a billionaire? Could I handle being a billionaire? If all of a sudden something happens, because when I think about billionaires, I think about the likes of Jay-Z, Rihanna, Oprah Winfrey, doggone Jeff Bezos, the guy that owned the other people, all them people. Those are billionaires. Okay, billionaires. And I think to myself, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Mm-mm. For them people to make that kind of money, I don't think they sleep. I don't think they sleep. I'm sure they take time out for things, but it's all probably scheduled. That's too much responsibility, and I already know that I don't have the capacity for it. Millionaires, multimillionaire, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, but a billionaire, no. A billionaire, no. Okay, so we have to be able to have the capacity to hold what we're asking for, because in order for us to receive it, you have to have the capacity. And so before you asking God for all these things, or universe, or higher being, or whoever it is you believe in, make sure that you have the capacity to hold it. And in order to do that, you got to let go some of those old things, some of those old habits, some of those old versions of yourself that you feel that because of this and that and the third, you don't deserve to move on from nothing else. You deserve punishment, just like that person that I was talking to. You get one shot at this thing called life. One shot at this thing called life. And I tell anybody, when I go to heaven many, many years from now, baby, I want to slide in there. Okay. I want to be able to be like, you know what? That was a good ride. That was a good ride, which means I want everything. I want all the abundance that's given to me because I'm going to work hard to get it. All the abundance that's owed to me because I'm going to work hard to get it. That means I want the love. That means I want the riches. That means I want the gifts. I want the just everything, the relationship with God. I want all the things that's promised to me. I do. Because I'm going to work hard to get those things. But I know in order for me to get those things, I have to let go of some things. And what I do know is that motherhood is one of those things that we as mothers will guilt ourselves sometimes, right? Because a lot of times as mothers, if you are a mother, let me know down below. We tend to overgive, okay? And so because mothers overgive, a lot of things that we have is we have that mother guilt. And so because we have that mother guilt about what we're not supposed to be doing or what we supposed to be doing, or if I had done this, I know people that feel like because of who they had their children by, that they owe their children more of themselves because, oh my God, I didn't choose a good father for you. And so because I didn't choose a good father for you and he's absent, then I'm responsible. Huh? What? No, because that child wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for that father. That child has to listen, as parents, as mothers, we do what we can do. We take care of our children. We go ahead and let them listen. We let them go ahead on. Okay. A lot of mothers are conditioned that we pour into everybody else except for ourselves. We carry everybody's emotions. We carry everybody's mental issues. We carry everything financially. We spend so much time surviving that we forget to create room for ourselves, right? Understand this, mothers deserve peace. We deserve softness. We deserve support. We deserve rest. We deserve joy. We deserve all of the things, all of the things. And we need to be able to know who we are outside of struggle. But again, in order for you as even as a mom to get the things you want to say, listen, I want to be able to elevate here. I want to do this, whatever, whether you're a father, whatever. You have to let go of some of those guilts. Just like that mother I was talking about that felt like because they didn't choose a good father, that no, no, your child is making those decisions on their own to be incarcerated. That has nothing to do with you. Now, did him not having a father in his life may have had an impact on it? Yes. But I can tell you one thing though, nothing is absolute. In other words, I can give you a child that has been incarcerated that had a mother and a father. Then I can give you a child that has not been incarcerated that didn't have one of their parents. I can give you a child that has not been incarcerated that did not have parents at all. They were raised in the system. You see what I'm saying? So nothing is absolute. People make decisions just as you. So when it comes to mothering and when it comes to being a parent, we have to let go of some of that guilt. We have to let go of it because listen, those kids are grown now. We have to keep going. We learn, we teach, we say, hey, this is what I wish I could have done, regardless of what it is. We have to let those things go. Why? In order to make room for other things. Okay? Some women are so busy being needed that they never stop to ask themselves, who are they outside of surviving? And when I think about that, that was something that I think that I can honestly say I spent my 40s, a lot of my 40s doing, because when I retired from the military at 43, I came out of my second marriage at 38. Um, yeah, I was 37, going on 38. I retired from the military at 43. So by the time I got out of the military that first year or two, I was like, who am I? Like I had no idea about who I was outside of the military and oh yeah, outside of having a marriage because the first time I got married at 18 and then I started dating my second husband immediately after that marriage dissolved. And 4 years later, we were married. And so for me, there was never this who am I? Like 17 was the last time I was single. And then here I was 38 and now I'm single. And then here I was 43 and now I don't even have Uncle Sam no more. Okay. I ain't have Uncle Sam no more. I chose it, but it was like, oh shit. Okay, what do I do now? So I had to do a lot of figuring it out. And I realized that a lot of what I did came from me surviving. Me surviving, like in other words, everything was a struggle, like a hustle. Like, ooh, I made it through that. It wasn't no, okay, let me just go do this. Like everything I did, it was like it was time. It was like, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. It was like I'm always now I casually do things. Okay. I casually get to church. Okay. I casually go to the grocery store. I casually get up in the morning. Now, I'm not saying that I'm late on places all the time. I'm not saying I don't be where I'm supposed to be. But what I am saying is that I'm very intentional about what I'm doing. And I know that if I'm doing this thing right here, because it's for this reason over here, not because I'm throwing stuff at the wall trying to see what sticks because I'm in survival mode. No, and I know that in my 40s, that's what I did. I didn't have a husband. I didn't have Uncle Sam. I was single. And I didn't know how to do that. And oh, yeah, I was single with 3 children and my mother. Because here it was. I was doing all that. So what am I to do? Because guess what? The captain of the ship can't go down, honey. I was literally a captain in the army. And the captain of the ship can't go down because if the captain of the ship go down, then the whole doggone fleet go down with it. So I was in survival mode. I was in survival mode. And I think as I come up out of my 40s, going into my 50s, that's when I really started to understand the difference. Because before that, I didn't know. But what I do know is once I started to clear out all of that stuff, like, all of this, whatever, a lot of things started to come in, right? I started to evolve. I started to go get and become that person that I've always was, okay, without being put into these boundaries, okay, that somebody else put on me, or the boundaries that I put on myself, or the guilt that I was holding on to, or living the life that I thought I was supposed to be living for somebody else, because those things take up space inside of us as well. When we're doing things that we think that other people want us to do, or we trying to live somebody else's life, that takes up space in us too, because we're trying to check the block on things that's not even our lives. So how can I be this over here if I'm too busy trying to be this over here for somebody else? It's hard for two things to be true at the same time. Sometimes they are, sometimes it's not. So you have to make a decision. And so for me, what did that really look like? How did I started to do things? Number one, I started saying no when I needed to. Because why? I need to make space for the things that no longer serve me. So part of that was saying no. So if I didn't want to do something, I don't do it. And it's just that simple. There's no guilt. I didn't care who it was. I don't care who it is. I don't care. Listen, I will delete, block you so doggone quick. It will make your head spin. If at any part of my life I feel like you are playing in my face, I will delete, block, and unfollow you so doggone quick. Make your head spin, because I don't have no time for any games. Okay. I am a grown woman, so my boundaries are very clear. I say no, and my boundaries are very, very clear. Okay, because my time is very important. And so I make sure to set very clear boundaries. If we're not doing these things, I'm not saying I'll be aggressive in anything, but if this does not align with what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go, then your girl don't do it. And it's just that simple, because my boundaries are very, very clear. Not only that, but my environment is clear. I make sure that I keep as less clutter around me as possible. Okay. And what I mean by that is I will look at something and be like, you know what? I'm going to throw all that away because I'm tired of looking at it. Because things like that make me feel chaotic. Now, I will say this. I will say this. I keep certain areas of my life, like my closets, like I go in there and I junk them up, my drawers. I go in there and I junk them up. It's part of my, I don't know, it's part of something. I'll strain them up, then I'll do it again. It's part of the process. Okay. But I'm talking about in terms of clutter, like in terms of things that's just clutter in a corner, or things that ain't supposed to be there. Like I need everything to, I want to come into my home and feel my home. And so what I'm saying to you is that that's part of it, right? Clearing your environment, clearing the head, the stuff in your head that ain't supposed to be there, clearing the space around you, the stuff around you that ain't supposed to be there, that make you feel anxious. Okay. Another thing is ending unhealthy relationships. Baby, do I need to say that one? Do I need to explain what that means when I say ending unhealthy relationships? Let's understand that unhealthy relationships are unhealthy relationships. I am not going to sit here and define what an unhealthy relationship is. But if you are in any type of a relationship, whether it be a love interest, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a relative, if you are in any type of relationship and it doesn't bring you anything or no pleasure, or you're bringing more to it than they are, you might want to consider that relationship. 3333 on the clock when I said that. You might want to consider the relationship, okay? Because a healthy relationship is important. An unhealthy relationship will take up space within you that will cause you to not receive the things that you're supposed to receive, because you hold on to people that you ain't supposed to hold on to. Okay. So if you hold on to unhealthy relationships, get rid of them so some good relationships can come in. It's just that simple. Then also go into therapy. Listen, I keep my therapist. Matter of fact, I got to call home Monday because I'm running low on my medication. Okay. My Prozac. It ain't nothing for me. Listen, what I did not realize is that I need Prozac. Right. And I think that part of, people say, well, no. Listen, I can sit here all day long and say this, that, and the third. I take two medications. That's it. Prozac and my sleep meds. That's it. I don't care about what nobody say about this, that, and the third. As a 53-year-old woman, and because I have been in survival mode my whole life, There are things that I have to do in my life to make sure I stay balanced. And taking my Prozac, I only take one a day of 25 I think it's 25 milligrams, but I need it. Okay. And when I don't take it, I feel like I'm jittery. I feel like I'm anxious. I can't sleep at night because why? I remember that. I remember not being able to sleep at night. I remember not understanding what was going on because listen, okay? So my therapy, okay, I talk to her when I need to, and I get my medications refilled when I need to, and I get my rest faithfully. I sleep in on Sundays. The rest of the week, I kind of get up because my body tells me to get up to get the girl off to school. All right. That's another thing. Make sure you get your rest and also grieve properly. And I think that this is something that a lot of people tend to ignore grieving properly. Okay. If we do not, okay, let me tell you something. Grieving is one of those things that, for me, I think that it's a lifelong thing. And it's just that simple. I think that grieving over a loss of someone is a lifelong thing. I don't think that we get over grieving for somebody that we love that has transitioned or a relationship that is no longer with us because of whatever reason, right? We will always have that grieve in our heart, right? But what happens is that we learn to live with it. Okay. We learn to live with it. And when I say grieve in a relationship, like even in my marriages, okay, there's no regret about me filing for divorces from my marriages, but I would never sit here and tell you that there was never a part of me that didn't think, well, did I do the right thing? And this is even years after the marriages. Because we wonder about that, especially when you're single and you're like, well, damn, should I have divorced my husbands? You're like, should I have divorced my husbands? Maybe I should have. No, no, no. I'm tripping. I'm tripping. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. I'm tripping. Okay. So once I realized that, but in that moment, I grieve. I grieve what I don't have anymore. It's a loss, and I grieve it. And you have to allow yourself that proper time to grieve it. When you feel it, on May the 4th of this year, my dad has been transitioned for 33 years. Okay. On May 4th, I didn't cry. On May 5th, I didn't cry because I kept it strong. Even on May 3rd, I didn't cry. Okay. May 3rd, May 4th, May 5th, I didn't cry. But baby, on May 6th, baby, I was like, okay, I was strong for 3 days. And I had to let it go. And it was just that simple. And he's been gone for 33 years. But on that day, I'm going to always remember him because I grieve what I never had. I never had a father in my 50s. I never had a father in my 40s. I never had a father in my 30s. I never had a father in my 20s. Like I never had so I grieve the things that I will never have. And I grieve him. And so for me, that's a lifelong thing, right? That is a lifelong thing. Okay. And then, of course, releasing guilt. This is how I get through it. Releasing the guilt, the things that I know for a fact that no longer serves me. Listen, like I said, whatever I did at 33, I am not about to sit here and be yelling at myself and mad at myself for something I did at 33 and I'm 53. So releasing the guilt. All right. That's something that you definitely have to do. Okay. Again, in order for us to make space for what we're asking for, we have to get rid of things. And it's not just the physical aspect, it's the things internal, it's the things here, it's the things here. We have to get rid of those things. So, some things I want to leave you with. Ask yourself what in your life is taking up space that your future self needs? Tell me down below. All right. And then the second part, what version of yourself do you need to release? And what habits are blocking what you ask for? Those are three questions that I will invite you to answer for yourself. You don't have to share them with, but if you want to, you can put them down below. But if you know for a fact that you are holding on to things that are taking up space in your life, and you know what those things are, tell me down below. Okay. And so listen, y'all. Like I always say, when I make a video, I already know it ain't just for me. It ain't just for me. It's something that I'm told to tell, okay? And that's what I do here on Hood Parents Alive. The things that I go through in a week, okay? Listen, also, make sure y'all turn on y'all notifications because when I tell you I am all in terms of posting and blogging and all the things, You don't want to miss it, honey. You do not want to miss it. And so, if this is your first time here, I appreciate you sticking around. If you stick around for the entirety of this video, let me know down below what you got out of this video. Y'all listen. So it's time for me to do my hair. Okay, it's time for me to do my hair, do something different to my hair. Okay, but anyway, I gotta go down here and cook the girls some dinner. All right, and I will catch you guys in the next Hood Parents Alive. All right, talk to you later. Bye.